If you are a renter in Australia right now, over the last 4 years, your rent has increased by 55%.
So as soon as I went to this property, not gonna lie, I had no hope. This had so much interest by so many people. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom townhouse with a garage.
They are wanting to increase my rent by $125 a week.
Holy fucking shit. Is this a joke?
One of the hottest topics of discussion right now in Australia is the housing crisis, and this goes for house prices, rental prices, and the lack of supply. And what I mean by that is not having enough houses built for the amount of people that are living in this country. And it is ridiculous. Today we're going to cover videos that go over all of those topics, and it's just going to highlight how insane this moment in time for housing really is.
I'm shook. I'm literally shook at what I've just seen. I just went to a rental inspection, and no joke, the guy that was hosting the inspection, the property manager, the landlord, I didn't even talk to him because of how horrific this house was. I can't even explain to you. Like, he was saying, he had the audacity to say, just, you need to look past the dirt. I'm like, bro, there is black mold. There's cracks in the walls. The roof is falling down. The bathroom looks like it's, I don't know, like had a freaking tornado thrown through it. And like, oh my God, I can't believe this is like allowed to be out there, allowed to be like listed as a property, because it was fucked, like proper cooked. I am not DTR. I am not down to rent that one. Holy, absolutely no molies. Wow. Oh my God. If you want to see the walkthrough of the place that I've just seen, I wish I fucking didn't. You guys, you can't tell me we're in a rental crisis. This guy said that there was over 100 applications for this place. I can't believe somebody's going to live in there. I'm sure as hell isn't going to be me.
Your girl came through and has part 2. So before we even say anything, we are going to watch that now.
Since going to the inspection and posting that video, the listing for this property has been taken down. I don't know if that's because of a report that I made or somebody else has made, or they realized that they were in the wrong. Probably not the latter. I did, however, get a screenshot of the listing. Only one screenshot. I know I should have got more, but I did get one. And the title of the property listing is cute, clean, lots of storage and convenient location. And then underneath that it says, this one won't last long. No, this one won't last long because it's going to fucking fall down. The property was in Reservoir and it was listed for $380 per week, which is the lowest amount for the similar type of property, or like similar size bedrooms, backyard and all of that, in probably around a 40-kilometer radius, which is just kind of more telling to say how manipulative and like wrong it is, because they're prying on people that are desperate, and someone will take up that rental property because how bad the market is right now. In the walk-in video that I'm about to show you, I couldn't show absolutely everything because there was a lot of people there and I didn't want to show their faces, but it smelled horrific. The kitchen wasn't too bad, but like that's saying something. And yeah, the floor in the laundry was like soggy even. And yeah, it was just all around a bad house. And the fact that there was just so much like rubbish, I know that they're going to get rid of that beforehand, but like don't do an inspection, don't host an inspection until like it's clean, when we don't have to look past the dirt, which we'll hear him say, hear the landlord or property manager say in this video. So yeah, keep your ears peeled to kind of grasp some of the words that he's using. It's quite insane that this property is even listed in the first place.
See what I'm saying? You don't look beyond the dirt.
Jesus Christ. Holy fucking shit. Is this a joke? This has to be a joke.
looking at the applications that are coming after.
I've already
Applied. So if you've already applied, send an email saying, this is my name, this is the application on the email, and then we'll look at that, look for the application. I'll be honest with you, I think we're up to 900 applications. You know, so it's, there's the one, is there. So just say, I've just seen.
Christ.
My name is Jen. Welcome to Diary of Jen. Thank you so much for being here. If you are a supporter, thank you. I appreciate you. I love having you here. If you're new here, welcome. We would love to have you part of the fam, so don't forget to subscribe. We cover topics like this all the time and mostly around kind of finances, housing, lifestyle, all that good stuff, and a little bit of commentary in between. I have a lot to say about that, but if there was actually 99 applications for that property, that just goes to show how fucked this housing crisis is at the moment. The state of that house, and mind you, mold, so bad for your health. I can't even begin to explain the negative impacts that can have mentally, physically, the whole shebang. And the fact that you have people walking into this house and would be exposed to the mold, it's very worrying. And I don't think they would have rectified the mold. Like, once the tenants moved in, were they going to fix the mold, or that was something that wasn't? Because to me, if there's mold, there's something going on to cause that. And I feel like it would take maybe a little bit of time to rectify something like mold. And it wasn't just one spot, it was in multiple throughout the house. And the thing that I was like, oh my gosh, was that toilet roof. I say that lightly because that's not a roof. Literally, there must be water getting into it or something. And it looked disgusting. I never understood, if there's something wrong with a house or whatever and you own it, to me, I would much rather pay for it once the right way and have it done and not need to worry about it again. Because if you just try and spot fix things and not do it correctly, you end up with shit like that and you're going to need to fix it again. So it's just silly. I would love to see what this agent thinks is clean. If that was clean, please show me something that's like squeaky clean, because if that is your standard, I don't know what standards you have for clean. That's crazy. And it is really sad because people would live in that situation because they're so desperate, because the housing market is so insane right now. And honestly, I feel so bad, and my heart breaks for people, and especially families in positions like that, whether you're single, family, coupled up, like whatever situation you're in, it's shit. And I wish that we had more houses to house every single person, because at the end of the day, housing is literally a need. It's not a want, it's a need, and we all should have that. Even paying $380 a week for that, there was so much wrong with it. And seriously, the impacts of mold on you is ridiculous, and I would hate to be in that situation, let alone the smell. You know, when you walk into a place and you just get that instant whiff of mold or like wet damp, and it's so gross. Like, my body almost rejects it when I smell it straight away. I'm like, oh, that's not right. You know what I mean? Comment below, let me know what you think of this current situation, and if you've been in similar positions or if you've heard of similar stories, because I just keep hearing stories about this and it amazes me. I feel so sad for people that are in positions where they're literally trying to get a rental and it's taking so long to do that, or they miss out because there's 50 other applicants or 100 other applicants for one place. It's just insane.
Can I ask how much your rent is?
$600 a week. And it goes up in December. Like,
How much is it going up by?
I share with one other person and we split it evenly. It's going up to $13.50. So like we're gonna have to move.
Car spot?
No. No, like building amenities or anything. I think anyone with a full-time job shouldn't have to pay more than 30% of that income on their rent.
How much do you pay percentage of your income?
Oh God, like too much. Most people around here more closer to 50, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this like the first place you've rented, or have you lived in cheaper?
I've lived alone in Melbourne for like nearly $420 I think a week, and that wasn't that long ago. So like it's definitely an area specific thing.
Okay, so where would you move if you were going to move to a different area?
I wouldn't. I probably would just like bite the bullet and rent, like just because unfortunately if that's the amount that it is, that's the amount that it is. Honestly, like you look at similar things in the area or like even neighbouring suburbs, you're still looking at an exy figure. So it's like that extra $100 to live in the place that you do want to live, then...
If you're going to be broke, might as well be in Bondi.
100%.
Do you have any aspirations to own property?
Not here. I think if anything, most people would plan on buying when they're a little older, when they want to live like outside of the major cities. I don't think it would be feasible for someone like myself to be looking at buying in Bondi.
$13.50 a week? Are you joking? What? It amazes me how much rent prices are and how normalised it's become for us to see, you know, places for rent in the 600s, 700s, 800s and just not even flinch at that because we're like, oh yeah, that's normal. It's insane. Like, that's so much money. Imagine being a single person or even just a single family, you know, one parent family, and you've got one kid and it's you and you're needing a 2-bedroom place and it costs you $600 plus a week in rent. And you've still got to pay bills, utilities, you've still got to pay for food, fuel, car, just everything. And you're paying that much in rent by yourself. It's ridiculous. It's insane. I don't know how we're going to fix this or what's going to be done because I can't see how these prices can keep increasing when our wages aren't increasing at that same rate. I think it's absolutely fried what we're going through right now. And I think something definitely needs to change because it can't keep being like this. It's not even sustainable. It's mentally, physically, being so stressed about, you know, money, housing. It's just too much. If you're happy to share, comment below what your rent is a week because I'd be interested to see how much it is and maybe even like how many bedrooms you have because I just think it's insane. And obviously the places that are nearer to beaches and in cities, especially major cities, are quite costly and I just think it's ridiculous.
Almost 70% of renters are too scared to ask for repairs. Of the tenants surveyed, half lived in homes that needed repairs, but the majority would not ask because they were concerned their rent would increase. The Australian study also found a third of renters would not cope if their rent increased by just 5%.
The amount of stories I have heard from people who are renting and they ask for maintenance, then have their rent increased, is insane. It literally happened to my mum. Like, she requested for some sort of maintenance and then that day, like that afternoon, she got a rent increase. And this is exactly, and I don't know if, you know, it was a crazy coincidence and they were going to do it anyway, but I have heard stories of that and it is so shit that people feel like they can't speak up and say, hey, you know, X, Y, and Z is broken and it needs to be fixed. Because they're afraid to either be A, evicted, or B, have a rent increase. This is why I have a really big problem with people who have multiple houses as investments and rent them out. And, you know, I get it. You have a choice. You can do whatever you want, your money, your life. But it's really sad when people have and need somewhere to live and you're just increasing the rent. When they're asking for maintenance on a house that you own, that you should just fix. Like, if it is a leak in the shower, that's not the tenant's fault. It's just a house thing, maintenance that needs to be corrected.
So I wanted to talk about rental increases. So I've lived in my current unit in January next year will be 5 years, and I've lived in my building think total will be 7.5 years in January. I just recently got my notice form around the extension of my lease, and you know what I'm wanting to do, if I want to extend, if I don't want to extend, etc. When they sent me the move out form, they said, oh, we're still negotiating with the owner. Fine. But then they have come back to me and they are wanting to increase my rent by $125 a week. When I moved in here, my rent, yes, was lower, but again, I've lived in the property for a long time. I've been very, very low maintenance tenant, and I think in the time I've been here, I've had one plumbing issue which had nothing to do with me, and also them getting them to replace a dishwasher, which took 3-4 months. But yeah, like I guess for the Brisbane and city surroundings, I'm interested to see if, you know, they're still hiking rents up for you. Like my rent, you know, my area is going up fine, but I just feel like going from a small increase to such a massive increase of $125 per week when there's been no maintenance to the unit or anything, like, I don't agree with it, and I'm not overly happy with the fact I have to move, but I've spoken to the Queensland RTA, and really not a lot I can do if they're being compliant with the frequency of the increases, etc. So, looks like I will be waiting for a response from my owner because I've put something in writing, and then I guess from there I'll determine whether I want to continue here or whether I'm going to have to leave.
So he had been in that building for 7.5 years and in that place of residence for about 5, and is getting a rent increase of $125 extra a week. I've heard of, you know, a few years ago you'd have $10, $15 rent increases like each week, but $125 extra a week. Where are people getting this money from extra? Like, unless they're cutting back on things, or it means less money that they can put in savings or towards their future. Like, I just think that is such an exorbitant amount of money to pay extra. And for what? Like he said, didn't seem like there was any maintenance or any upgrades to things, but yet the rent is increasing by that amount of money. I think it's a different story if, maybe, you know, they've just done a reno of the whole bathroom, brand new shower. I can kind of understand if it was a rent increase of maybe that much, but even then, if there's something wrong with the shower and you own the house and it needs to be fixed, how does that fall on the person who's renting out your home? You chose to purchase that property, and instead you're making the tenant fork out extra money to pay for something that's yours. And this is the whole thing that I have an issue with, is if you're choosing to have an investment property, you're choosing to take on all these extra charges, whether that be rates, water, sewage, renovations, maintenance. This is your choice. It's a whole thing, and I'm not going to get into it, but I just think it is so interesting that people have all these investment properties and want to put all the costs onto their renters, because I just don't think it's fair. You chose to have that asset, whatever, you chose to purchase it. It's your responsibility.
I just got another rent increase. I'm so angry. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. What am I paying for? The house has actually probably gotten worse. When I first moved in here, when was it? I can't even remember now. Like just during COVID, I can't remember. But anyway, when I first moved in, this place was $640 a fortnight. Want to guess what it is now? $860 a fortnight is what I'm now going to be paying. For what?
So the rent has increased to $430 a week, which is $860 a fortnight. How have we even got to this point where rents are just so ridiculously priced? And I just have nothing more to add. I don't know what else to say. I'm just shook.
So I live in Neutral Bay with my wife. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment and we pay $675 a week.
So my apartment in Manly that I live with 3 other people, it's $1,130 a week.
I live in Surrey Hills and I spend $700 in rent a week. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, terrace.
I rent in Cremorne Point in Sydney and we pay $720 a week for a 2-bedroom apartment.
So I rent in North Sydney, it's $740 a week, and we're 2 people, it's a 1 bedroom.
I'm renting with my partner. We pay $760 in Ashfield, and it's a 3-bedroom house with a little backyard.
Live in Balgala, live with one other person, so there's 2 of us, live in a 2-bedder, and I pay $625 a week.
So I live in Coogee with a housemate and it is $660 per week for 2 bedrooms.
I live in Ashfield in OS and it's $408 a week for a 1-bedroom apartment. Balcony included, bathroom, separate lounge. Ground floor apartment, did get robbed once.
The prices are just ridiculous. Did you hear 1-bedroom apartments were going for what? They were paying $700 a week for 1 bedroom? Are you joking? Are you actually taking the piss? That is mental.
The reason why my dad has to move out is because they're raising the rent to, I think it's $550 a week. And the floors in the lounge room have been like this for over a year now.
Over a year? The floors had been like that? Are you joking? Is that even, safe to live in that? Are you serious? There's literally holes in the floor. And they're increasing the rent. They're saying, oh, yep, we can fix that once we increase the rent.
Okay, I don't normally swear, but what a load of bullshit. I've just been in an open home here in South Brisbane, and the agent is telling everyone that offers without a building and pest will be put with more priority and be a lot stronger. So while that's probably true, just walking around this home, you could see lots of illegal electrical work, illegal garage conversion, lots of unconsented work outside, 20-year-old pool at least with a liner that's possibly leaking, plus got some other problems. Like the house just had problem after problem, drummy tiles through it, possibly a leaking bathroom, a leaking kitchen, again, more electoral work that was all illegal. And they said, oh, we've got a building and pest that's been done. You can buy that and have a copy of that. This is a building and pest done by the seller. How anyone would fall for this, I don't know. But obviously with a bit of a frenzy up here in southeast Queensland, everyone's rushing to buy. People get nervous and they get scared. And there's people that were talking with the agent that I was overhearing, and they're like, yep, we understand that. We can take your building and pest, and we won't put a building and pest clause in. And look, don't fall for that shit. Like when you get a house like this, they're saying, oh, it's fair at the price. It's $850,000 plus. It's actually not a good buy at that. Even at that price, if you add up all the work that needs to be done, plus the amount of notices that could be served by the council, it is just bloody ridiculous. And to think that someone out there is dumb enough to fall for that sort of stuff is just incredible. Like if it was 650, 700,000, yeah, okay, that's different. I'd buy it without a BNP and do the work. But literally there was unpainted bits. That what you could see was scary enough. What does it look like where you can't see? And that's what you pay a good building inspector for. And I suppose that's one of the things of why you need a buyer's agent. When you've got that sort of pressure on you and you don't understand your rights and rules, people fall for this crap. And people put offers in without BNP going, oh, I need to get the house. I'm so desperate. You just bought an $850,000 lemon and you don't know what's wrong with it till you own it.
This is what pisses me off. And this doesn't go for all agents, okay? You can't just base it one thing on every single agent. But I will say, for the most part, agents are slimy, grimy, yucky, icky. They will do anything to get their sale, to get their commission. And I really don't like it. It is so morally and ethically wrong. And I don't know how they don't feel bad. It's like they have no conscience to actually give a shit about how bad of a property they're selling. And I think it does need to be regulated a lot more, because at what point do you go, oh, actually, there's a lot wrong with this place. We should be transparent. I would never take a building and pest inspection from the owner or the agent. I would never trust that. Hello? No. How do I know you haven't just, called Ted from over the road, to do the inspection. Are they qualified? Like, I don't know. Are they just bull crapping and leaving things out on purpose from these inspections? This is something you're putting so much of your money into. Do not let yourself get bullied or feel the pressure of agents because they're just trying their slimy tactics to get the sale done. And it's wrong, it's disgusting to take advantage of people who are just trying to get themselves in a better position, you know, whether it's, you know, just wanting to buy a home for security for when they maybe want a family in the future, or they just like that feeling of having something of their own. And if you're taking advantage of people who are just trying to do that, you suck. Honestly, I would never not get a built-in pest. I don't even care if it looked like the squeakiest, cleanest home. I wouldn't do it. And that's the thing, people get emotionally attached to homes that they go and see. And when you have an agent saying, oh, but, you know, if you make it unconditional, no built-in pest, you'll get priority over everyone else who does have a built-in pest. It's just so wrong. Honestly, it just needs to be regulated better because this is a joke. That's all we have today. Thank you so much for being here. If you aren't already subscribed, don't forget to join. We would love to have you part of the fam. Thank you so much for being here and watching. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like and comment below if you haven't already. Let me know what you think and what you'd like to see in the future. Have an amazing rest of your day. I will see you next time. Bye.